That was music of the gospel, set to the marching steps of the Christian soldier. But now, a song about the gospel that brings music to the heart. The Salvation Army Quartet and It Took a Miracle.
My Father is omnipotent, and that you can't deny. A God of might and miracles is written in the sky. It took a miracle to put the stars in place. It took a miracle to hang the world in space. But when he saved my soul, cleansed and made me whole, it took a miracle of love and grace. Though here his glory has been shown, we still can't fully see the wonders of his mighty throne. 'Twill take eternity. It took a miracle to put the stars in place. It took a miracle to hang the world in space. But when he saved my soul, cleansed and made me whole, it took a miracle of love and grace.
The Living Word declares, "In everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God." The way in which this was done and the amazing results ending in the writing of a great hymn of thanksgiving is the subject of this episode. The story behind the hymn, "Now Thank We All Our God," contains a terrifying page of history. The courage and faith of a people and their spiritual leader in the face of appalling circumstances give the hymn new meaning and challenge for us today. So let's consider the time, place, and circumstances in which the hymn was born. The time was the year 1630. The place, Eilenburg, Saxony, while the circumstance was the 30 Years' War, which swept back and forth like a deadly plague across much of Europe between the years 1618 and 1648. Those of you who know Bertolt Brecht's brilliant play Mother Courage will have gained some picture of the horrors, the misery, and utter futility of this long drawn-out conflict, which brings us to the man behind the hymn story. The man was Martin Rinckart, who became archdeacon of the ancient walled town of Eilenburg, the place of his birth, in 1617. By the year 1630, the long protracted war had already been raging for 12 years. Danish armies had ravaged much of Saxony, and now Swedish forces had marched in to play their part in the gruesome conflict. Thousands had died in actual combat, while many more had perished from starvation or from the raging diseases carried by plundering armies. With the exception of Rinckart, all the clergy of the town had died. He had to conduct as many as 50 funerals a day. In this one town, Rinckart buried about 4,500 people, including his own wife. The town of Eilenburg had suffered severely, and by the summer of 1630, its citizens were reduced to eating toads and lizards and bark from the trees. All through this continuing nightmare, Archdeacon Martin Rinckart ministered to his people, sharing everything he possessed with the less fortunate. Then came Rinckart's greatest test. Swedish armies had surrounded Eilenburg, and the town's few armed defenders had fled. The Swedish general set up his tent outside the walls of the town and issued a proclamation ordering the starving inhabitants to present him with a large sum of money as token of their submission. He ignored the request. He had no choice. The people of Eilenburg had no money. Pillaging soldiers had long since stolen everything of value in the town. Instead, Rinckart gathered all the able-bodied citizens around him, and in a tattered, straggling column they marched out of the town's main gate. Halting within sight of the Swedish general's tent, the gaunt bishop drew the men, women, and children into a group and conducted a service of praise and petition to God. It's recorded that the Swedish general was so moved by this declaration of faith that he ordered his own stores of food moved into the beleaguered town. The records also seem to substantiate that it was in response to this unusual gesture that the archdeacon sat down and wrote his glorious hymn of thanksgiving. With the termination of the 30 Years' War, the hymn came into popular use throughout Germany, and for 2 centuries was sung in its original version. But in 1858 it was translated into English and immediately found a lasting place in all of our major hymnals. Searching for facts relating to this particular hymn, I came upon this incident. It happened during World War II, at the time of the evacuation of the entire British expeditionary force from the battle-scarred beaches of Dunkirk. In spite of heavy bombing, thousands of vessels of every kind, from destroyers to ferry boats, put out from England to rescue stranded soldiers. One battered old tugboat arrived back safely with 200 exhausted men jammed on her decks. As the brave little vessel chugged into harbor, the men, led by a Welsh ex-miner, sang, "Now thank we all our God," and the echo rang from the cliffs of Dover. We have inherited but one hymn from the pen of Archdeacon Martin Rinckart, but it stands alone in its majesty and spirit of devotion. As I sing it for you, I hope you will hear it with greater meaning, and that you will share in its praise and gratitude to God.
Now thank we all our God with hearts and hands and voices, who wondrous things hath done, in whom his world rejoices, who from our mother's arms
I never sing those words without being reminded of the 107th Psalm. Here, the writer recounts the blessings that are his and recognizes the hand of God in every good thing. Let me read you a few verses from it. Give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so, whom he hath redeemed from the hand of the enemy, and gathered them out of the lands from the east, and from the west, from the north, and from the south. They wandered in the wilderness in a solitary way. They found no city to dwell in. Hungry and thirsty, their soul fainted in them. Then they cried unto the Lord in their trouble, and he delivered them out of their distresses. And he led them forth by the right way, that they might go to a city of habitation. Oh, that men would praise the Lord for his goodness, and for his wonderful works to the children of men. For he satisfieth the longing soul, and filleth the hungry soul with goodness. Oh, that men would praise the Lord for his goodness, and for his wonderful works to the children of men. Gratitude is one of the most desirable virtues. Perhaps we should be more grateful for each other, and more than that, thankful to God for all his goodness to us. Join us again, won't you, when we will seek to learn more of the living Word, and of him who is, in very truth, the living Word.
What do you really know about the world's bestseller? This free Bible correspondence course is yours just for the asking. Simply send a letter or postcard to The Living Word, care of this station. Do it today. Do it now.